Booming Britain is a magnet for immigrants. 10 years ago, only about 5 million foreign-born people lived in the United Kingdom. Almost half of them were British people born abroad or foreigners who became citizens whilst living in the UK. By 2012, the number of foreign-born permanent residents increased substantially, as did the share of non-British citizens in the mix of newcomers. Today, about 12.4% of Britain's population is made up of foreign-born people, yet only 7.8% of them don't hold a British passport. The figure that drives the immigration debate is net immigration, the difference between immigrants and emigrants over a 12-month period. Net immigration picked up significantly in the late 1990s and has been above the 100,000 mark ever since. Latest figures show that between July 2013 and July 2014, close to 600,000 people immigrated to Britain and more than 300,000 people emigrated from the country. This leaves us with a net migration figure of 260,000. It's worth noting that the majority of immigrants are non-EU citizens. Note also that a fifth of Britain's immigrants are British citizens moving back home. Last year, the countries sending the most immigrants to Britain were China, Spain, India, Australia, and Poland. 27% of the so-called immigrants from Spain and 62% of immigrants from Australia were British citizens returning to the mother country. The UK mostly attracts people who want to develop their careers and earn more money. A third of them are students, which makes some of the main sending countries like China and India important markets for British universities. However, work is by far the most important motivation for immigrants who come here. Work offered to immigrants by British companies has transformed the UK labour market. The past 20 years saw the number of foreign workers as well as their share of the total labour force double. The share of foreign-born labour is now significant in certain economic sectors, especially in manufacturing, construction, hospitality, and domestic services. According to the latest studies, the profile of the typical immigrant differs by region of origin. Most immigrants are young, and many of them hold a degree. Average level of education is highest among those coming from the so-called EU 15 countries, that is, the most developed Western and Southern countries of the EU. Almost 1 in 2 non-EU immigrants now also holds a degree, against the UK ratio of 1 in 4. The vast majority of immigrants do find work in the UK, with East Europeans having the highest chance of getting a job, mostly in the sectors we mentioned earlier. Non-EU migrants are the most likely to be out of work. EU immigrants have been net contributors to the UK economy over the past decade. They have paid in more tax than the amount of benefits they have received. Over the same period, EU migrants have also added fixed public goods to the UK economy and saved British business a £49 billion education bill by bringing skills from abroad. Immigration was, is, and will be a vital issue for Britain. It's important to get the facts right.